To be a successful owner operator, you got to pay attention to your cost because your net cash position is going to be determined by net cash inflow minus net cash outflow. So, into this conversation, I want to talk to you about key owner operator costs that you have to really pay attention to this year. Because the cool thing is that being an owner operator offers a lot of flexibility. You have a flexible schedule, work autonomy, and the ability to earn a good living. Somewhere, I mean, sometimes even getting close to six digits a year net. Okay, so it's important to understand that for you to really manage your business properly, you got to have a clear idea about the kind of expenses that you have to really cope with this year. So the very first has to do with fuel expenses. I mean, in this economy, it's crazy how fuel has gone up big time. I mean, it's just crazy. And so fuel is the largest owner operator expense and often the most difficult to project because you don't know what happened. Can you really imagine what happened a few years ago during COVID? And all of a sudden, prices went up or even after, fuel prices went up or down depending on the region where you were at. So basically, you can't really predict that kind of expense. However, on average, you can expect to spend between 50,000 to 70,000, sometimes $100,000 every year filling up your truck. Okay, so to get a rough estimate of your cost per mile, you want to divide your truck's miles per gallon, your MPG, by the current cost per gallon for fuel, and then multiply by the number of miles that you plan to drive, you or your drivers. If you have a fleet, you have to really multiply by the appropriate number of vehicles. Okay, let me give you the top ways to lower your fuel consumption. Your fuel consumption this year. You want to make an informed tire purchase. Consider the long-term cost when buying tires. Look for those that deliver excellent traction, long tread life, and rolling resistance, which will improve your fuel economy. You want to control your speed. So every 5 miles per hour you drive above 60 miles per hour is like paying an additional 20 cents per gallon for fuel due to wind resistance and increased tire rolling resistance. So adding a few minutes to your trip can add dollars to your wallet. You want to find your engine's sweet spot. The sweet spot is the most efficient revolutions per minute RPM to actually run your engine, which really reduces the amount of fuel you burn. So a good sweet spot is 1,250 to 1,350 RPM. You want to use a fuel card. So fuel cards let you purchase fuel at a discounted price, and the savings can add up big time. So find a card that offers the best savings and benefits for your needs. You want to plan your routes. So make the most of every mile by eliminating deadheads and avoiding driving empty miles. And finally, you want to also pay attention to how you get things done. So you want to negotiate fuel surcharges. So with charges in constant flux, negotiating the fuel surcharge with every contract can provide stability in predicting and covering fuel costs. Next, you want to think about truck purchase or lease cost. This depends on depends on the kind of vision you have, and also depends if you are a solo owner operator or you have a fleet. Okay, so when it comes to owner operator costs, you need to pay attention to. Think about the vehicle cost. So your truck payment is one of your top fixed monthly expenses. Some drivers choose to buy their trucks while others lease or rent. It depends again what works for you, and it depends also on your cash inflow, how much you're generating in terms of revenue every single month. Regardless, you must be sure that your monthly income covers these payments, your monthly truck payments, okay? Whether it is a loan, a truck loan, or a truck lease. So if you own your truck, you will no longer need to worry about this monthly cost once it's paid off. However, you will need to consider maintenance and repair costs to extend its lifetime. Something you don't have with leasing, because leasing, the leasing agency, the leasing company is taking care of that part for you. The maintenance part, the obsolescence part. So number 2, truck purchase or lease cost. Number 3, you have truck maintenance and repair. So truck maintenance and repairs are very necessary, especially if you do a lot of OTR. If you drive like crazy miles, like if you really have a long mileage every single year, if you have a preventive maintenance plan and a rainy day fund to help cover the cost, you'll be less likely to take an unexpected hit to your monthly budget. Additionally, you are required by law to keep your truck in safe operating condition. See, the whole thing is that every state has laws regarding trucking, but you have regulations at the federal level. So if you think about the DOT, Department of Transportation, and the FMCSA, those are agencies that really pay attention to making sure that our nation's highways are pretty safe. Okay, in general, truck maintenance and repair will account for approximately 10% of your overall expenses, including 1,000 to 4,000 for tires every single year. So that's a lot. But hey, listen, it is what it is. I also want you to think about insurance expenses. So insurance expenses are going to be important. Why? Overall, insurance is essential, yet the specifics vary widely. More coverage leads to higher monthly premiums, while less coverage means taking on more risk. And you do not want to take on more risk if you are an owner operator, because if something were to happen, you are going to pay big time if you're not covered. Okay. So if you are an owner operator, you want to think about the two primary types of insurance to really cover yourself. You have truck insurance, and then you have health insurance. Okay. So basically, truck insurance means that you are paying attention to all kinds of coverage that relates to the vehicle itself. So navigating the details of commercial truck insurance can be complex. So you will need to carry mandatory minimums. But you can also choose to increase your protection. So take the time to understand the types of coverage and make an informed decision. Also, make sure you understand what's not covered, right? So if something were to happen, let's say an accident or something, whatever, you know that you will be on the hook for that part of the expense. Also, think about health insurance. Your work depends on your health, so it stands to reason that health insurance should be a top priority for you. Many insurance companies actually specialize in trucking and can actually help you with the best plan. So that's really important for the long run. So whether you need coverage for yourself or your entire family, you will have a monthly premium. However, since owner operators are self-employed, you can claim a 100% deduction of your health insurance premiums if your spouse does not have company offered insurance through their employer. And so if you're interested in that, just go to healthcare.gov for information about applying for individual health insurance through your state's or national insurance coverage. The fifth type of expenses here, you have taxes. So state and local governments require you to pay taxes. You can plan on paying the following self-employment taxes, but also federal and state income taxes. Let me talk to you about some additional trucking costs to consider this year if you are going to be an owner operator. Think about annual licensing permits and documentation. Don't forget to account for your annual licensing and permitting fees. These are set by law and actually may vary by state. So you want to check with the relevant government authority for current pricing. So basically, when I'm speaking about the annual licensing permits and documentation, it's one of those things where it has to be on a state by state basis. And so if your trucking company operates in multiple states, you want to really inquire with all the officials in those states. Okay. So when I speak about those costs, I'm speaking about business licenses, driver's license renewal fees. Okay. You have DOT registration fees. So you have United States Department of Transportation registration fees. You have your motor carrier operating authority registration fees. So your authority fees. You also have your UCR fees. The UCR stands for United Carrier Registration Fees. You have vehicle inspection fees, and those inspection must have a a proper timeline. Okay, you have state transportation permits; those will cost you also. You have the IFTA, the call. I mean, the call are really. I mean, they're not really that expensive, but you gotta have that. So IFTA, so that's the International Fuel Tax Agreement, and you also have another tax that some truck drivers don't really think about. That's the heavy vehicle use tax fee. So a lot of states will impose an additional fees for trucks, and because trucks are considered heavy vehicles, and logically they are contributing to damage. I mean, not damage, but contributing to shorten the expectancy of our national highways. So government officials just want to make sure that you're paying part of that program to repair the highways. So if you're looking for owner operator costs to really think about this year, I want you to think about food and drink expenses. Okay, now food costs can add up quickly on the road, especially if you're not planning ahead. So if you're doing a lot of OTR, you really need to think about food costs big time, and you need to plan them. Okay, don't be surprised. They shouldn't come as a surprise to you. If you're driving on the road, you gotta eat. Okay, you gotta take care of yourself. So carriers, as a carrier, you can deduct a portion of your meals on the road from your taxes under a deduction known as per diem. Okay, still you want to keep your food budget low if you want to save money, especially if your cash inflow is not really high enough for you to really get some reserves to actually have some rainy day fund. So eating healthily during trips can actually cut costs and calories. So instead of exclusively dining out, consider investing in a small refrigerator, travel cooking equipment, and a microwave for your truck. That way, you can control your cost big time. Okay, and also think about broker fees. So those are fees that you can really they can really increase your overall cost big time. So freight brokers can help connect you with more hauling opportunities, but their services come at a cost. If you decide to work with a freight broker, you want to evaluate their services, reputation, and pricing carefully. Every broker determines their own rates, but typically you can expect to pay between 10% and 20% of the gross margin for every single load. So basically, if you get a load that's priced at $1,000, for instance, expect to receive 900, 800 to 900 after the broker actually deducts their fees. So something to really think about, because this really affects directly your net cash flows. Anyway, I also want you to think about load board subscription. So if you're trying to really see what's happening on the market, what's happening in the industry, you really have to really subscribe to a load board, and you can subscribe to that. You can subscribe to a truckstop.com. You can subscribe to you have a lot of load boards out there for truckers. So load boards help maximize your profits by allowing you to quickly find and book loads. A monthly subscription fee is required, and you may want to access more than one to expand your options. Load boards with special features such as a truck stops load alert notifications help you maximize your time and efficiency. Okay, allowing you really, when you think about it, to get the higher paying loads you are looking for. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, because you always want to consider subscription cost and benefits when you tally up your monthly expenses. Next, you have factoring expenses. So if you're trying to really, let's say, control your cost this year as an owner operator, think about factoring expenses. So freight factoring offers an alternative way to maintain a steady cash flow and get you paid faster, which is especially helpful when margins are tight, right? So after you have completed a haul, you can submit the invoice to a factoring company for a small fee. They will expedite your payment and handle the collection of the unpaid balances from the broker. Now, the fee for this service typically ranges from 2.5% to 5% per invoice, depending on your business volume and the factoring company. So this is something to really think about now. While involves a cost, the convenience of reducing accounting efforts and chasing invoices often makes it worthwhile. Okay, it's one of those things where you have to ask yourself: are you rather be on the road and really taking care of hauling loads, or just calling people on the phone? Now there are two types of factoring: recourse and non-recourse. You have in recourse factoring, the factoring service will try to collect on the invoice. Non-recourse factoring might cost you more upfront, but protects you from chasing down payments that you actually haven't received. So that's kind of you got to really you see a balance here. You have to ask yourself whether or not you want to really sort of navigate that balance. Another cost that I want you to really think about this year is kind of similar to a load board, but this is software. So when it comes to trucking, I want you to pay attention to a few things. So that's basically a transportation management system. So think about transportation management system subscription. So basically, what happens here is that a transportation management system, TMS for short, dramatically reduces the amount of manual paperwork on your end. So for a small monthly fee, you can automate most of your processing from a single click, invoices, and detailed customer agreements to IFTA reporting. So that's really a streamlined for like streamlined from A to Z. You also gain real-time visibility with let's say detailed reports, operational reports, industry snapshots. Okay, so you're able to make smarter business decisions regarding things like route optimization and operational processes. So you can see whether or not it's good to use one software over another. Okay. And what I want to say here is that if you are in the trucking business overall, there are a few things you can do to maximize profitability. So after considering your expenses, you want to really strategize ways to ensure the profitability and success of your trucking business. So various management and operational strategies can help you actually improve your bottom line and increase overall income. Let's talk about that. You want to accurately calculate your income. You want to review profit margins. And you have to do this constantly. You have to do this constantly. So accurately calculate your income. You want to review profit margins. You want to look for ways to save time, and you want to invest in preventive maintenance and get paid when you need it too. That's really going to help you big time. Let me explain a little bit here. When I say look for ways to save time, I want you to think about proper load planning, regular maintenance, effective communication with dispatchers and clients. I want you to think about the route optimization, and finally, TMS solution. TMS solutions that way you know exactly what works and what doesn't work. So basically, using technology solutions like a TMS to manage your administrative tasks, track your hauled loads, and find a way to do it all faster can really help you. Just make sure that you can also invest in route optimization software to reduce fuel use and idle time while maximizing load capacity. Also, when you think about preventive maintenance, that's going to help you. Also, preventive maintenance is critical to a successful trucking business. So this essential task can help you reduce your repair cost and extend your equipment's lifespan big time. And this is another way to really make sure that your trucking business is actually as scalable as possible. So be sure to schedule regular inspections and services, which will reveal any issues before they turn into costly repairs. So that's really cool from a flexibility point of view. So what's the takeaway here in today's conversation? As I spoke to you about owner operator cost, I gave you the five essential owner operator expenses to think about, and then the additional trucking costs to consider this year. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.